Can you live your life without God? We're going to answer that question and more live on a Clarion Voice. Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. This is Mark Sobowitz on a Clarion Voice, being taken care of by my crew, Selena and Debbie. And we thank them for being here and taking care of me. Today, we're going to talk about, is life without God possible? And my immediate answer to that question is no. And the reason I say that is because without God in my life, I would have not been able to get through what I've been through in the last few years, and including the passing of my wife and other issues that have come up. Now, the problem is that there are a lot of people these days who are thinking that they can live without God. Well, if you go back to the origins of time, Adam and Eve were placed on this earth to go from dust to glory. That was God's intention. But because Adam and Eve made the choices that they did, then it became dust to dust. And what I'm talking about is the fact that when they passed, their physical body went into the ground, the dust, and then their spiritual body had already died because they made the wrong choice about obedience to God. And so there are many examples in the Bible that talks about the importance of having God in your life. And one of the most important ones is in Ecclesiastes, when Solomon is writing about his life. Now, he was given the opportunity initially to either choose between wisdom or riches or wealth. And Solomon chose wisdom, which was a good choice. But unfortunately, he got influenced by his many wives and their lifestyles and things of that nature. And so he pursued all these pleasures. And then it turns out that it wasn't so good. I mean, because in Ecclesiastes 6, it talks about the fact that Solomon says that life is meaningless. And he's talking about life without God. And I don't see, in my opinion, I don't see how people can get by without God. There are many people who think that because they're a good person and they do good things and what have you, that they can do without God. But God created you, my friends. He's there. Whether you're an atheist or an agnostic or whatever your beliefs are, God is there. He created you, and he's always going to be present no matter what your beliefs are. So that's something that you have to acknowledge, in your life, as far as the fact that pursuing pleasures or the worldly things, or thinking that because you do good things that you're going to be able to exist. But remember what I just said about Adam and Eve. Their physical bodies died and went to dust, but where did their spiritual bodies go? Well, they didn't go to heaven, that's for sure. And that's the problem here. People think that they are immortal. They're not immortal, they're mortal. And so if you don't have God in your life, your physical body will die, but your spiritual body has already died because you chose to not have God. And so that's the problem that people have, and granted, people do think that because they tithe or they do random acts of kindness and things of that nature, that they're going to be rewarded for that. Well, without God influencing your, decisions, then you're not going to be rewarded as you think you are, because there are harsh, but without God in your life, you're not going to be able to reap the benefits of eternal life. That's what God put you on this earth for, eternal life. Because it says in Romans 6, the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. So if you don't have God, then you're not going to get the benefit of eternal life. I mean, wouldn't you rather live with God eternally and reap all the benefits that heaven is going to provide you with? No, no worries, no anxieties, no nothing to worry about, because God is going to provide that for you. And that's something that people, think that they can, shall we say, get away with it. Because, I mean, if you remember back in the 50s, Hugh Hefner said, if it feels good, do it. That was his Playboy philosophy. Well, unfortunately, that has become, more prominent in this day and age, because people are doing exactly that. They do what they feel like doing, and they don't think about the consequences of that. And so, if you think about the prodigal son, for example, the prodigal son in the book of Luke, he had all this, wealth and whatever, and he squandered it on the pleasures of life. But then after a while, he realized that that was empty. That was an empty existence, because he ended up in the pig pen. And so then when he came to his senses and realized that he needed something more, and so he went back to his father, who in this case is representing of God. He came back to the father, and the father said, okay, I see that you want to have a meaningful relationship with me, so I'm going to give you the robe, and I'm going to give you everything, despite what you did in the past. So I think that people have to recognize the fact that if you go back to God and you fill your life with Him and develop a relationship with Him, then consequently you're going to be rewarded. You're going to get eternal life. I mean, what better thing to have than that? And so I think that you can't live your life without God, because God, as I said, created you. He sustained you. He's waiting for you. And so you need to be able to just recognize that in your life. And I sincerely hope that you will do that, and that you will let God into your life, because He's there for you.